At the very beginning, we learn that a man's life is divided into only two types. Next, we see the main character named Kyung-soo, who is a married man. Our married protagonist understands that there are also unmarried men. Then the wife decides to check if Kyung-soo has packed everything so that he doesn't forget anything important. The guy is very confident that he definitely took everything and says that he will return shortly. Kyung-soo remembers his beautiful wife in his youth and says that he got married 7 whole years ago. Our main character married this girl whom he had been dating for 7 years since his college days. The guy is already leaving and realizes that in total, he has been dating for about 14 years, and that's a lot. And right now, this lucky guy is going to leave his wife for 5 days and 4 nights, which is very cool. While on the road, Kyung-soo continues to experience intense joy, and unmarried men will never be able to understand what that feels like. Of course, Kyung-soo is not traveling alone, because he always dreamed of going on this trip with his best friend from school. While the guy was waiting for his friend, a girl came out to meet him, saw Kyung-soo, and said hello. Seeing her, this guy immediately became embarrassed. He recognized this girl as Sun-hee and wants to know how she is doing. She makes it clear that everything is fine with her and her husband will be out soon, but while they wait, they can talk to each other. Kyung-soo hopes that Jun-hyuk will not rush, in which case Sun-hee offers to leave together before he leaves. However, unfortunately, while this girl is on, Jun-hyuk left the apartment and does not understand what these two are laughing at without knowing. Our main character is at a loss. He doesn't understand how his friend came out so quickly that they didn't even notice him. In response, Jun-hyuk makes it clear that this happened because of the noise. He asks the guy to hurry up and transfer his luggage to his car. After some time, 2 gigachads are already sitting in the car, and Sun-hee went to the window to say something. Then you can see how she, smiling, wishes the two of them a happy journey, and tells her husband that she trusts him very much and is not jealous. After her words, she continues to stand at the window, and our main character asks her not to worry because he will take care of Jun-hyuk. Having heard this, Sun-hee says that if Kyung-soo had not gone with her husband, then she would not have wanted to let him go on this trip. In turn, Jun-hyuk is already tired of all this. He wants to finally get moving and doesn't understand why their goodbye is so long. After his words, this man pressed the gas pedal, and then his BMW started moving at high speed. Seeing this, the girl began to look after the leaving car, and at the same time she waved her hand to these guys. Apparently she will miss you. While on this journey, we learn that our main character, together with Jun-hyuk, have been real best friends since high school. Kyung-soo looks out the window and, trying to appear mysterious, remembers how when he was young, he thought that their friendship would last forever. However, unfortunately, after these two got married, they gradually began to move away from each other, and this is sad. First of all, our main character and Jun-hyuk himself were completely different. They did not have similar interests, and it was noticeable. Kyung-soo also remembers how Jun-hyuk, thanks to her rich father, started her own business immediately after graduating from college. Thanks to this, our main character's best friend got a nice house, an expensive car, as well as a wonderful wife and lives happily. At the same time, Kyung-soo, after graduating from college, had difficulty finding a well-paid job and married the only woman he had dated since college. Our main character also remembers how he worked hard and was able to build a house with the money he borrowed and increased his salary a little. After some time, Jun-hyuk, with a serious face, tells Kyung-soo that he should not eat too much because it will soon be beef. In response, our main character says with humor that he has a separate stomach for beef, so he definitely shouldn't worry about it. Kyung-soo doesn't understand why he didn't know in his youth that there are many reasons why friendship cannot last forever, and this is their first trip together after weddings. Our main character was very hopeful that this very trip would bring back the old friendship, and there was a chance that everything would be just like before. Meanwhile, while our main character was eating his very tasty food, he saw something very unusual in front of him, and you can see how he saw it. It turned out that his friend just wants to go to the club after eating and doesn't understand why Kyung-soo was so surprised, but the main character is against this idea. In response to this, Jun-hyuk began to drink a glass of his alcohol, so to speak, to gain courage and give a clear answer to our main character. He begins to think that Kyung-soo thought that they came here to the temple just to take pictures, but Jun-hyuk is going to make sure they have fun. He says that there is one place where he really wants to go today, so he asks you to follow him and of course wishes not to complain. In response to this, our main character Chono will also remain very surprised and does not even know what to answer, because his friend is a confident person. Then we are shown the entrance to that same club, and at this moment the main character remembers that Jun-hyuk was always so energetic and confident all the time. They sit at the same table, and the guy realizes that since he had a lot of money, Kyung-soo himself already knew that he loved entertainment and what he was going to do. After some time, Kyung-soo tells his friend that he really hates clubs, and after this he definitely won't come back here again. In response, Jun-hyuk asks him to try to play one more time today. He promises to pay, so it's time for them to actually relax. Having heard the words from Jun-hyuk's side, our main character got very angry and lets him know that it's not about the money at all, and he just doesn't like to do this. Judging by the expression on Jun-hyuk's face, he was a little unhappy with this answer. Turning away from the guy, he asks him to just play with him today and nothing more. After this, with a very sly face, Jun-hyuk tells Kyung-soo that he urgently needs to check whether the rumors are true, but it is not clear what he means. Apparently, our main character knows this guy well, and apparently he understands that Jun-hyuk came to this place to do very dirty things. A moment after their dialogue, two girls begin to enter this room who apologize before entering in order to seem very cultured. Of course, the two guys immediately drew attention to them, and Jun-hyuk was delighted at their presence, and Kyung-soo wants to get out of here as quickly as possible because he is afraid of women. The blonde on the left begins to get embarrassed and giggle sweetly, after which she turns to these guys and tells them that she is pleased to meet them. Jun-hyuk in turn listened carefully to these girls and examined them, after which he realized with great joy that some rumors actually turned out to be true. This guy's words immediately interested this brunette. While straightening her hair, she wanted to ask him about what kind of rumors he was talking about. However, she never received an answer from the guy because the blonde answered this question faster and tells her sister that they are talking about her. After some time, we can watch how Jun-hyuk is already quite drunk and sitting on the sofa with a brunette telling her stories. Then we see how the blonde finally sat down next to our main character, but he doesn't pay any attention to her because he's a Sigma, and the blonde doesn't understand what's going on. She sees that the guy doesn't want to communicate with her, so she spoke first and asks why he is silent. After which she says that she likes quiet guys. After a moment, this girl realized that this guy was just sitting in his place like a stone and silent, so she decided to offer him a drink, thinking that it would help. However, unfortunately for her, this only angered Kyung-soo. He stood up and asked to stop, and the girl was surprised at this turn of events. It turned out that our main character just urgently needed to go to the toilet, and the girl, still in bewilderment, looked after him. A moment later, Kyung-soo had already left this room and closed the door, after which the blonde shouted after him to come back faster because she was bored here. Then we can observe Jun-hyuk's reaction to this whole situation. He looks at the closed door and, being dissatisfied, simply remains silent. Apparently, he did not like the behavior of his friend. The course of events changes to the bathroom, where we see a very angry protagonist who, standing in front of the mirror, looks straight at his very angry face and reflects on the situation. Being dissatisfied, he is well aware that this is not at all what he wanted to see on this trip. He does not realize that such fun can be found in communicating with these girls. Turning on the water from the tap, he says that he just wants to enjoy the long-awaited freedom, so he doesn't need any girl in this place. While in the restroom, Kyung-soo gained strength and right now goes to say that he doesn't like this at all, because he shouldn't be dragged around by this idiot. After some time, our main character got back to the very room in which his friend was sitting, and opening the door, he wanted to turn to Jun-hyuk. However, to the great surprise of our main character, he saw how his best friend drove the limousine into the garage right now, and he definitely did not expect to see this. Kyung-soo, in turn, continues to watch all this and in a quiet voice turns to his friend, not understanding what he is doing here, because this is very strange. The blonde decided to take advantage of this moment. She approached the main character and reminds Kyung-soo that he is also a real man. After her words, the brunette with a very joyful face takes the sword in her hands and says that it is of sufficient quality, and this cannot but rejoice. Then she tries to calm down our main character and says that everything will be fine and right now we can arrange a test drive. After her words, the girl continues to beg Kyung-soo to start a test drive of the Cybertruck as soon as possible. However, our main character looks very confused at this moment. Apparently, he did not expect such a turn of events and did not want this to happen. Meanwhile, we can watch a brunette who tells Jun-hyuk that he is very good at his craft and she really likes it. Kyung-soo, in turn, continues to watch this whole performance. Being very surprised, he wants to leave this damned place as soon as possible. Watching all this, our main character suddenly felt as if he was starting to suffocate, and apparently he didn't like it at all. He clutches his heart and continues to hold it, while he realizes that his chest is already stuffy and now the condition seems to be even worse. Meanwhile, Jun-hyuk understands that given the rumors from the internet, the extended journey is worth it because he was able to verify all this personally right now. This guy also makes it clear right now that he wants to see the volcano erupt, because it's not in vain that he traveled a huge distance to this place. We see Kyung-soo again, who continues to look at this and hold on to his heart. He suddenly feels as if his heart is about to burst. Then we again see the blonde, who right now wants to start sharpening her sword, but our main character continues to endure his inner pain. Our main character began to get rid of excess rags, and already at this moment, the blonde makes it clear that she is going to start sharpening the sword. Kyung-soo noticed that he doesn't have any extra rags on him, but he doesn't want to rush things and asks this girl to stop as soon as possible. However, she apparently doesn't care about his words, and she began to sharpen her sword, but our main character asks to wait because the time has not yet come. Meanwhile, our main character understands that for a long time, no one has done their job as well as this blonde. He enjoys watching her work. However, at the same moment, Kyung-soo understands that the girl had better stop, because he can't do this anymore, and that's not what he came to this place for. But unfortunately, the blonde again began to remind our main character that he is actually a man, and right now he is not behaving appropriately. She wants to arrange a test drive right now, but according to her, if our main character refuses this, he will be a complete fool and disgraced for life. In turn, Kyung-soo listened to this blonde attentively and understands that he himself really wants to give it a test drive, but he has a little doubt about this decision. Kyung-soo hopes that this will not be long, and then he drove the limo into the garage. The blonde lets him know that she really likes the test drive, so she doesn't want it to end. Our main character in turn cannot believe that she really likes it. Apparently, he was not at all confident in his skills. The girl confirmed her words so that the self-confidence of our protagonist would skyrocket, and he would no longer be such a coward. After some time, Jun-hyuk makes it clear to the girl that his patience is already coming to an end. Immediately after his words, a real volcanic eruption occurred, and judging by the expression on his face, he actually liked it. Meanwhile, our main character noticed this, and judging by the expression on his face, this moment surprised him very much. After some time, Kyung-soo realizes that his patience is already coming to an end, so he needs to be prepared for this. Still, immediately after these words, a volcanic eruption occurred, and now it seems the guy understands that it was not in vain that he actually came to this place. After this, Jun-hyuk decides to look at his best friend with a very sly look, and at the same time he laughs. Apparently he noticed that his friend liked this trip. Then this guy decides to praise the main character, so that he finally begins to be proud of himself and tells him that he did just a good job. In response to this, Kyung-soo couldn't even say anything. He just looks at his friend with a shocked look and doesn't believe that he really did it. After some time, we can observe Kyung-soo, who apparently wakes up on his bed the very next day and notices that he has a severe headache. Already getting out of bed, he realizes that last night he drank quite a lot and it's bad. Meanwhile, Jun-hyuk continues to sleep next to him. In the morning, Kyung-soo really wanted to drink water, but to his great regret, looking tired, he discovered that there was nothing left in the bottle. The main character now looks completely confused. He realized that they have no water left, so he needs to figure out where he can get it because he is very thirsty. In the meantime, he again decided to look at his best friend, who still continues to enjoy his sweet sleep after a hard evening. After this, we can watch how our main character got ready and went outside in search of something. It turned out that the guy went outside in search of a store to buy himself water, but looking around, he cannot find a store in this place. After some time, Kyung-soo turns his attention to some girl who is right now walking down the street about her business, completely alone. Kyung-soo continues to look at her and cannot take his eyes off her, because she is really very pretty. The guy was even a little confused. However, our main character still did not lose his temper, and decided to turn to this girl with a question, because he himself cannot cope with his problem. Of course, this girl heard an unremarkable guy address her, after which she silently turned in his direction, wanting to find out what he needed. When she turned in his direction, Kyung-soo was confused again when he saw his handsome face. One gets the feeling that he had already forgotten what he wanted to ask her. Then we see how the girl with a smile on her face wants to clarify with the guy what happened, making it clear that she is ready to listen to him completely. After he heard her voice, he immediately blushed and unsuccessfully tries to remember what he wanted to tell her, but apparently nothing works out for him. The girl, in turn, still looks at the face of our main character and is silent, wanting to hear from him the question that he recently wanted to ask her. Then we notice that the usual smile from this girl's face began to disappear, and she again decides to ask the guy what he needs from her, because he is very strange. After that, Kyung-soo finally gave his answer and says that nothing like that happened, but still decides to ask if there is a convenience store nearby. Having heard a completely ordinary question from the guy, this girl began to smile again and, after listening to the question, tries to remember where there are shops. Then the main character, with an awkward look, says that he drank a lot yesterday and therefore would like to buy a couple of cold drinks because he is thirsty. Hearing these words from Kyung-soo, the girl understands that he had a lot of fun yesterday, so she asks him to start following her because she will show the way. After her words, this girl immediately turned around and set off on the road, hoping that this guy would follow her so that she could help him. However, Kyung-soo understands that if he walks with her, he will definitely lose consciousness, so he makes her understand that she can only show him the way. In response to these words, the black-haired girl says that she, in fact, is also heading to the store so they can go to Toodles together. Then suddenly the girl decides to find out where this guy came from, and judging by his voice, it begins to seem to her that he came here from Seoul. Our main character understands that she hit the nail on the head and confirms that he came here from Seoul, while he begins to laugh a little. Then our main character decides to find out if this girl is on a trip. She says that she lives here and it's very good here, but Seoul will still be better. After some time, these two finally got to the nearest store, after which our main character, putting his drinks on the cash register, paid attention to something. It turned out that right now he is watching the same girl who is now choosing for herself the things that she needs to buy. And then he realizes that she really wants to buy a fluorescent lamp, and, looking pleased, Kyung-soo lets her know that he will pay for her now too. And of course, this girl was very pleased with this offer, after which she tells the guy that he shouldn't do this and that she can buy it herself. However, in response, the main character, with a smile on his face, took out his bank card and said that she kindly showed him the way, and this is the least he can do. After some time spent in dialogue, the girl still agrees that Kyung-soo will pay right now for her goods, because he himself wanted to do so. Then we watch as these two bought the things they need and begin to return together and are now just walking along the sidewalk. On the way, the girl got tired of them walking in silence, so she decided to start a conversation and began by thanking the guy again for paying for her goods. She felt pleased. The guy begins to smile and, being proud of himself, says that everything is in order, because he is a man who certainly repays services to his enemies too. After listening to this, the girl with surprise on her face understands that in this case, she should be much more careful not to become his enemy, because then it will be bad. However, the guy only felt a little funny from her surprise. He tells her that she is a good girl, so she shouldn't worry about it and everything will be fine. After some time of walking, their roads diverge and the girl says that she needs to go this way to catch her bus, so it's time to walk. Her words surprised Kyung-soo very much. Right now, he can't believe that such a beauty like her rides public transport. In response, the girl confirms that she travels by bus and says that it is time for her to leave here and should not linger at all. After that, our main character begins to silently watch the trail of this leaving girl. He simply decides to enjoy her beauty for the last time. Unexpectedly, this girl decided to stop and turns towards the guy, clarifying his words, namely how he said that he drank a lot last night. It was a real surprise for our main character that this girl decided to stop and turn to him. He became interested in what she wanted now. After that, she points her finger at one place and says that down the mountain, there is a restaurant called Hangover Yuri, and the guy should visit there. Kyung-soo, of course, was surprised that this girl decided to recommend a restaurant to him so suddenly, but he still thanked her for it because he liked it. After these words, the girl decided to continue her journey and moved on, and our main character, in turn, simply continued to look after her. Then we can see how Kyung-soo has already returned to his house and is about to enter his apartment, while he seems to be thinking about something and looks very sad. Our main character cannot believe that such an attractive girl can live in the countryside. Apparently, this surprises him very much. Kyung-soo, with great disappointment, begins to believe that after this meeting he will definitely not see her again, but he felt very pleased in his soul. And now he just opens the door. A moment later, the guy enters the apartment and notices how Jun-hyuk has finally woken up and does not understand where Kyung-soo was, because his head is pounding now. Then he lets his best friend know that he drank something cool, so he should drink it as soon as possible and then just get out of bed. After some time, we can already see how these two got into Jun-hyuk's luxurious car and drive at high speed along an empty road. We are shown Jun-hyuk, who dressed quite coolly and is trying to understand what kind of hangover solution our main character is talking about now, because he has never heard of such a thing. The main character, looking at his phone, says that according to rumors there is simply excellent food and it's not far, so then you should turn right. After some time of driving, these two can now observe the restaurant itself, which from the outside is a small, unremarkable building. Kyung-soo decided to be the first to get out of the car, and looking at this building, he realizes that it looks like a good restaurant, and wants to know his best friend's opinion on this matter. However, Kyung-soo never heard an answer from Jun-hyuk. Looking into the car, he sees his friend now sitting on his phone, looking very pleased. Kyung-soo wondered what he was doing there, when Jun-hyuk asked him to wait, because apparently some girls woke up and he received a message from them. Our main character heard the words of his friend, and from the expression on his face it is clear that he is dissatisfied with this. He believes that his friend is now calling yesterday's girls. Jun-hyuk didn't say anything in response, because he had already managed to get through to these girls, and introducing himself in front of them, he wanted to know if he had just woken up. Then this guy starts laughing and asks for forgiveness for waking him up. He says that he bought something for them for a hangover and is ready to pick them up right now. He already promises them to arrive there soon, and Kyung-soo in turn looks completely unhappy because he wanted to have fun with his best friend alone. Then Jun-hyuk turns to his friend and says that he can't stay here because he urgently needs to pick up those girls, so he invites Kyung-soo to go first. In turn, this guy is now completely bewildered. He doesn't understand why his friend needs to see them again because they were going to spend time together. In response, Jun-hyuk didn't even repent. He started starting his car and told his friend that he would be back very soon. He just promised to stop by yesterday. Then we see a very sad picture. Namely how our main character looks after Jun-hyuk as he leaves and he doesn't even have anything to say about this. Our main character is well aware that he cannot stop his restless friend in any way, so he now wants to go into this restaurant alone. Having reached the entrance to this unusual restaurant, the guy opens the door, still not understanding what his best friend is doing. Suddenly, Kyung-soo notices something that makes him very surprised. Judging by the expression on his face, he did not expect to see it here at all. It turned out that in this place there was the same girl who showed him the way to the store, and judging by what she is doing now, she is an employee of this place. Our main character, in turn, cannot even say anything about this. He just continues to silently look at her, enjoying her beauty. Suddenly, the girl felt someone's gaze on her. She heard the door open behind her, so she decided to turn around and ask who came there. A moment later, these two exchanged glances and our main character cannot remember what the girl said about the fact that they would have to meet here. The girl realizes that this guy came to this restaurant because he wants to be served properly, so she asks him to wait for a minute because she is already about to go down. Kyung-soo understands that she is having difficulties in this work, which is why he offers his help and asks to give him one of the parts so that he can change it. However, the girl makes it clear to him that she doesn't need it. She'll just have to turn it off and that will definitely be enough. Suddenly, it wasn't the most successful event, namely some kind of accident. The girl slipped and began to throw it directly at the main character, hoping that he would catch her. Of course, this Giga-chad did not lose his temper, so he opened his arms wide and stood in front of this girl in order to catch her and save her from injury. A moment later, this girl has already landed right on our main character and he in turn is struggling to stay on his feet. However, the guy was unable to stand on his feet and fell straight to the floor, after which the girl saw that he was not in the best condition and wanted to check with him whether he was really okay. Suddenly, the black-haired girl felt that the Cybertruck began to start. She was very surprised by this event because she could not have expected this now. Our main character, who is now in perfect order, did not expect this and fell into a slightly awkward position because he is shy. This girl, in turn, continues to look straight into Kyung-soo's eyes, wanting to know what he will say next on this matter because it was truly unexpected.